I don't think that they thought this series would be one that they would just walk right through. So I think there is a level of embracing this type of small adversity. And when you look at the fact that at the start of the series, especially considering the way Milwaukee looked in that first round, to think about the fact if you were without James Harden and without Jeff Green for the first 3 games of this series, and you tell the Nets are up 2-1, I believe they would take it. You got 2 of the top scoring teams in the league. I am not sure that Brooklyn will ever shoot that poorly again. And I think a lot of it came down, sometimes it's about the shot profile, right? So is it more on what the defense is doing, or is it simply missing shots? And the fact that between Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, they go 20 of 50 from the field, and a lot of those were clean looks. Joe Harris, 1 of 11. There are a variety of aspects that I think give you confidence if you are the Brooklyn team, on top of the fact that Milwaukee, they were going to come out ready and loaded for bear. They're back home. They were spotted themselves a 21-point lead. So to think about the fact that it came down to the final possessions, there's a lot that you look at in more than anything when it came to defensively what they were doing. The shot selection, again, of Giannis for Milwaukee, our biggest questions have been what type of adjustments will they make? What will Mike Budenholzer do to put his guys in the best position possible? And when you come away with a win, we heard Giannis talking, there's always that question, do they figure something out? Oh, we figured something out about this Nets team. And I am not sure there was anything you take away from that game in particular, if you're Milwaukee, that makes you feel like we figured something out about this Nets team. So for me, more of it is, how is Milwaukee feeling? And did they raise their level of confidence, or are they relieved that they were able to walk away with a win in that fashion when they were back at home?
Look, the Nets are clearly the better team. And you said something interesting. You said coming into this series, the Nets didn't think that it would be easy. They knew it would be a dogfight. But they moved the bar. The standard is higher now. After games 1 and 2, blowing this team out by 30 points, being up by 30 at half, you moved the bar. So for them to come out flat, I get it, but they should feel deflated. They should feel, disappointed. They had an opportunity to really just totally dominate and own this team. Going up 3-0 against this team, a team that you thought, would give you problems. That's right. Like you missed it. KD, at one point in the game, KD was like 4 for 17 or something like that. You had Joe Harris 1 for 11. Come on, Joe.
Well, emotionally, after they played so poorly in the first quarter, to storm back, to take the lead, for KD to score those 7 straight fourth-quarter points, it looks like the Nets are going to steal a win and the series is going to be over. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, man, if Milwaukee wins Game 4 and Vegas has it essentially as a pick-em, now we're in a best of 3. And I'm not as close to the team as Sarah is, obviously. I'm not there for practices, and I don't get to talk to the coaches and the GM. But I would imagine when they built the greatest collection, arguably, of offensive talent in league history, the plan wasn't. And in the biggest game of our year so far, the 2 biggest shots will be taken by Bruce Brown. Maybe I'm wrong. Steve Nash has done some interesting things this year, but I don't think that's quite how he drew it up. Part of that is because KD is just inexplicably, after being the best guy on the court in the second half last night, just standing outside of the play. He doesn't have to take the shot, but he should be in the action. It's felt like that play, there was 3 seconds, not 11 seconds. They had plenty of time. But I want to talk about the other star because, Sarah, I want your take on this, not only because you're close to the team, but because you played ball at a very high level. I think they might be asking a little too much from Kyrie. I understand Harden is out. But if you remove the fourth quarter of Game 2, where no starters played because it was a blowout, there have been 132 minutes played in this series. Kyrie has been on the court for 121 of them. Nash is not giving him any rest at all, I think out of necessity. But what that is depriving Kyrie of is his legs late. And Kyrie's one of the best fourth quarter guys we've had in this league. When you're watching the games, are you seeing what I'm seeing, that it looks like late in these games Kyrie is exhausted? He's got Drew Holiday on him, who is maybe the best point guard defender in basketball, and he's playing 11 minutes a quarter, and it just feels to me like Kyrie at the end of these games is just spent.
I would disagree with that, in the sense that this is a time you are playing your best guys the biggest minutes. Of all people, Kyrie, I think, understands his feel, his body, and how much effort he could exert. And he's doing it on both ends of the floor. This, I think, is a one-game isolated scenario that he was missing shots in the fourth quarter. However, no, like, that's what you want. I think we get on coaches at this time of the season, Mike Budenholzer being one of those, who are not playing their stars enough minutes. And in many senses, this is a steady build of what you're doing for the big picture of what this team is trying to accomplish in the postseason. So similarly to how you cannot overreact to those first two games, I think it's the same instance here. And I think if Kyrie Irving wasn't playing as much, or not playing those minutes, we would be wondering why Steve Nash isn't better utilizing the guys that should be on the floor for the maximum amount of time. Because that's what you see in the playoffs. Shortened rotations, heavy minutes for your stars. I would attribute that to a off night, really top to bottom for this Nets team, but Kyrie at moments.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.